A real review of the London New Year's Eve fireworks. If you've ever wondered if you're missing out going into London to watch their famous New Year's Eve firework display, don't worry, you're not. It's f***ing shit. Years ago this used to be a free event, as did free travel on the Underground on New Year's Eve, as a nice little gesture to the people of London. But that's all stopped now, and as this is now named the Mayor of London's New Year's Eve celebrations, it all makes sense. My ticket cost £45 for the green zone behind the London Eye, where you're all penned in like sheep, and the last entry's 10:30, and now you're in, you got over an hour and a half to kill in a massive crowd. If you're an anxious person, this would be your worst nightmare, and the only crumbs of comfort you can now get is either finding a Portaloo, joining the massive queue for the only food van in here where a burger costs 20 quid, or sitting down on the floor and getting a cold numb arse. For 45 quid the view from this section is awful as well. Yeah, you can see the back of the London Eye, but you also get to see the back of a building site. The fireworks themselves were, fireworks, loud and bangy, but I've just watched it back on the BBC and this whole thing is definitely set up for TV. We could hardly hear any of the music and got none of the good stuff like Paddington from down here. Getting out after was the worst bit. You're already cold and tired, and now all of the tubes around here are absolutely rammed and took ages to get anywhere near inside the station. Honestly, this is no exaggeration. It was one of the most pointless nights I've ever had. If you stayed in and watched it picked up under a duvet, well done, you did the right thing. What a waste of time. But anyway, Happy New Year. See you next time.
Amen. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. First and foremost, I'd like to start this video by giving all praises, honor and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rcha Kodash. Next is double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this 100% truth, and bishops. Salutations to the 144,000 doing the work of the Lord in all truth, honor and sincerity, and shalom to the 1/3 men, women and children who believe in this word being taught unto them. Shabbat for I am Noah Allah. Back at you with another video entitled The Mirth is Ceasing. As you can see in this very under-enthusiastic video of the New Year's celebration, and that's just ridiculous. £20 for what do you call it? A big burger. That's £20, bro. That's not even with chips. That's just a burger. £22 for a big cheeseburger. That's crazy. That's some crazy stuff. But as you can see in this very under-enthusiastic video, the mirth is definitely ceasing, man. And it goes to show you the times we're in as well. It's talking about how there was travel. There used to be free travel on the Underground, New Year's Eve and stuff. And you just don't have that now. There used to be a free show. Now, he spent, £35 on the ticket. It was waiting, over an hour in the freezing cold. Didn't get a good view. Was kind of blocked by a building site. Just for you to see some fireworks at 12. Yeah, you smoke a fag. Buy some overpriced burger and then be on your merry way. That sounds like a great start to the year. We of course did the New Year's Eve destruction lesson, and on the way back home, even on the way to the house in which we done it at, you could just see that the spirit of the people was dead. Everyone was just it's just like routine. Oh, it's that time of the year. We have to do something. It's like, but the spirit was just dead. Even when we was on our way back from doing the New Year's Eve destruction lesson, the spirit was completely dead out here, man. So there is definitely call for a change, and they need righteous rulership put in place, because no one's happy in this setup. No one's happy in this kingdom, as we can see. And by the way, we've been met by a lot of death already. Of course, nearing the close of 2025, you had a situation with Anthony Joshua with his two close friends. There was another up-and-coming boxer that I found on my feed who, I think he was shot and killed. There was another rapper in America who's been shot and killed. There was there was a house party, and there was a fire. I think it was in Switzerland, and he had about 50 people killed, I think. And a lot of people injured. So, what a great start to the year. This is Isaiah 24:4. It says, "The earth mourneth and fadeth away, The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. So the earth is defiled, and you know you don't even need to be in this truth to know that, or notice that, or see that. You know, it's blatant, it's obvious. Okay, it says, therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left, because we know ultimately what's going to befall this place is nuclear destruction, which predominantly is going to fall on the land of America and also the land of Israel. Which the land of America, what the difference between America and Israel is, America is never to be inhabited by man again. Israel will be inhabited by man again, and you know it will be enlarged also. You know, Israel is going to be a bigger plot of land, not just that little sliver that we see as the modern state of Israel today. All right. Verse 6, therefore have the and I read that. Verse 7, the new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. Yeah, as I said, you know, I was on my way to the Zaquan's place to do the New Year's Eve destruction lesson, man. You know, I decided to take the public transport rather than drive down, and you know, so I got on the tube, as we'd call it here, but train if you're not so familiar with that terminology. And you know, the spirit was dead, man. The spirit was dead in that tube, man. Everyone was just dead. Alright, you know, just forcing it, just acting that it was a fun night, and it was fucking shit, man. Just a bunch of bollocks, you know. So that new wine, you know, going into new philosophy, this, you know, all this new age way of living and ideologies and things of that nature. Excuse me. That's all fading away. Alright. Verse 8, the mirth of tabrets ceaseth. The noise of them that rejoice endeth. The joy of the harp ceaseth. People ain't happy, man. I just seen a video on Instagram, you know, when you're reminded, you know, that obviously then he did the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, you know, 3, 2, 1. And then all you heard was just all the things that got come out as a count. The bills, the car note, the water bills behind, the electric bills behind, wife's birthday coming up, child birthday coming up, Valentine's coming up, rent due, you know, like, it's all just a facade, bro. You know, my direct debits come out on the first of every month. And you know, that's what I was greeted by. I wasn't greeted, oh yeah, new year, new me, 2026. Nah, man, I would meet it with a bunch of deductions, man. You know, fuck this place, man. Verse 8 says, the mirth of tabrets ceaseth. So like I read that already. Verse 9, they shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. Yeah, man, you know, people getting pissed. Yeah, all that crap, man. You know, people are, that spirit is leaving people, man, because people are, that's just, you know, man, a lot of times people can't even afford it anymore. And people just in a low spirit, man. Being in Esau, Edom's kingdom, it takes the life out of you, man. It drains you, you know, it's just pointless, man. People are just like, to hell with this place, pretty much, you know. 10, the city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. Because ultimately, you know, that's what's gonna befall this place. It's just you know, nuclear destruction, destruction on all levels, man. You know, and there's a crying for wine in the streets. People want to know and understand what's going on, why life feels this way, what's the meaning of life, what happens after this, is China going to be ruling next, yada, 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 the list goes on. You know, that's why the scriptures say, blessed to see that readeth, man. And that's with understanding, because we know and understand what times we're in, who's who, what's what, and the direction in which things are going. Okay, so let's hold Ecclesiastes 7:2. It tells us how it is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. So it's better where we're at, which is the house of mourning, because we hate it here and we're not having the greatest time here. But that's prophecy. It tells you how they love not their lives until the death. I believe that's Revelation 12:11, if I'm not mistaken. So those who are of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai ain't necessarily going to have a good time here in this life, man. Because ultimately they know and understand that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And this is a completely just abominable setup. And, it's just bizarro world out here. So ultimately, we're in the house of mourning, man. But the scriptures are telling us that it's actually better for us to be in the house of mourning than to be in the house of mirth. All right? The house of feasting, Salakia. Verse 3 tells us, sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. So it's actually better to be in the sorrowful state. All right? Because, through our sufferings and the lessons that we have to experience and go through, and we learn from it, and our minds are made better, man. The saying goes, you grow through what you go through. Have you ever met an individual who's never really experienced the sourness of life? They're just they're just lost, man. No backbone, weak, effeminate, just confused ass individuals, man. But those people that have seen how life can get, how shit is peak, they what do you call it? Their hearts made better through experience, man. Although it took some pain to obtain that, that's just how it goes, man. It's just like the guy who's got a good physique. He had to go through a lot of pain to achieve that. So the same rule applies in various other aspects in life. Okay, verse 4 tells us the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. So you gotta ask yourself, what kind of spirit are you in these times, man? And now that's not to say that you can't ever have a good time. No, everything, a balance, man. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord. But understand that if you're really sincere about following Yahweh Hashem Yahshai and being in His truth, you just have to accept the fact that you're probably going to have more bad times than good here on this side. That's not going to be forever. That's not going to be perpetually. But as long as you're in Esau, Edom's wicked ass kingdom, you will more than likely have more bad times than good. And that's because, and there's a reason why the Lord does that. Is because He wants us to hate this place. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't want us to want to continue here. The scriptures talk about how for here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. I think that's in somewhere in the book of Hebrews, man. 13 or 14 maybe. So we're seeking one to come, and that one to come is the kingdom. What's that? In 2 Peter 3 it talks about we look for a new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness, man. All right, righteousness ain't dwelling in this current setup. So let's go here to Proverbs 29:2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. All right, so and you do the maths. Are the people rejoicing right now, or are they mourning? And if you sit down and be completely honest with yourself, you'll see that the people are mourning, man. People don't really have much reason to be rejoicing, because life is just, this setup is just tired, man. It's shit. It's draining. People are broke. Can't do anything, man. It's just, ain't no one happy in this setup, man. If they're happy, they're wicked, right? This is Isaiah 32:1. Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. That king is Yahweh Shai, and the princes represent the Israelite men, beginning with the elect. all right, are going to be the new righteous rulership, which ultimately we're going to be a nation of kings and priests. Okay, but that setup isn't right now, man. Right now we've got the wicked in rulership, and we've got wickedness, which is basically normalized at the moment, man. But that's all going to be subject to change once Yahweh Shai and the elect are established. Okay, that's why the scriptures say, what's that in Zephaniah 3:8? It tells us, therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Okay? So that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the Lord to rise up to the prey. We ain't taking matters into our own hands. We just preaching and prophesying, spreading the gospel, and that's all we're commanded to do. So that's what we're doing. Okay? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 4. It says, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. All right, because, you read Daniel 2 and 20, around about the 22nd verse or 21st verse, it talks about how he removeth kings and setteth up kings. Same sentiment in Psalm 75, So the power of the earth truly is in the hand of the Lord, man. And, we're in the time where, he's about to set up one that's profitable, which will be Yahweh Shai and the elect governing body. All right, because Esau Edom has proven that they ain't the one for the job. All right, Esau Edom is only putting rulership as an example of what a wicked rulership looks like, and ultimately the fruits of it being the destruction of this kingdom, and then in time the ultimate destruction and eradication of the nation of Edom. Okay. This is the book of Romans 8 and 21. Tells us how, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of the Most High. And that's all creation, man. They're going to be delivered from this wicked rulership, man. As it says, the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of the Most High. Because, these other nations are going to be our subjects, but ultimately in time they're going to see the benefit of the Lord's way. And, they're going to be looking at Esau like, is this the man that, ruled the world, that did shake the kingdom? Because they're going to see Esau Edom in his extremely low estate, which is really where Esau belongs. And they're just going to look at him like, rah, man, you're the fucker that you caused all this war and destruction on the earth. And now look at you, man. You're looking all crazy. The wood wolves. Search that up if you ain't familiar with it. Wood wolves, the wild man. This is verse 22. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And even in that video, that was an Edomite, man. Hey, man, if Satan be divided against Satan, how then shall his kingdom stand? You got Esau complaining about his own kingdom, man, his own setup. They're set up in his own kingdom. So a lot of these Edomites really are just two-time losers, man, because they miserable on this side, and then they're going to be miserable in the kingdom because they're going to be our subjects, man. It's just that's the definition of going outside, Verse 23, and not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. Right? Because we groaning as well, man. We hate it here, and we just want this wicked existence to come to an end, and for our righteous rulership to be established, man. Couldn't happen fast enough. 24 tells us how, for we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why doth he yet hope for? And that's why, we can't see the kingdom of heaven, righteous rulership, our people in order. That's why we're hoping for it, man. Read Hebrews 11:1. Okay? It says, but if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. And that's why you see I brought out Zephaniah 3:8. We're waiting on the Lord. We ain't taking matters into our own hands, and we don't see the fruits of the kingdom of heaven right now. And that's why we're hoping for it, man. And be patiently hoping for it, because really we're prisoners of hope. Because what else are we going to do? Go back into the world? Become a Muslim? There really ain't nothing else for us to do, man, but just to be patient. Okay? The mirth is ceasing, man. This place is out of here, man. I'm gonna play this video one more time and that'll be it, man.
A real review of the London New Year's Eve fireworks. If you've ever wondered if you're missing out going into London to watch their famous New Year's Eve firework display, don't worry, you're not. It's f***ing shit. Years ago this used to be a free event, as did free travel on the Underground on New Year's Eve, as a nice little gesture to the people of London. But that's all stopped now, and as this is now named the Mayor of London's New Year's Eve celebrations, it all makes sense. My ticket cost £45 for the green zone behind the London Eye, where you're all penned in like sheep, and the last entry's 10:30, and now you're in, you got over an hour and a half to kill in a massive crowd. If you're an anxious person, this would be your worst nightmare, and the only crumbs of comfort you can now get is either finding a Portaloo, joining the massive queue for the only food van in here where a burger costs 20 quid, or sitting down on the floor and getting a cold numb arse. For 45 quid the view from this section is awful as well. Yeah, you can see the back of the London Eye, but you also get to see the back of a building site. The fireworks themselves were, fireworks, loud and bangy, but I've just watched it back on the BBC and this whole thing is definitely set up for TV. We could hardly hear any of the music and got none of the good stuff like Paddington from down here. Getting out after was the worst bit. You're already cold and tired, and now all of the tubes around here are absolutely rammed and took ages to get anywhere near inside the station. Honestly, this is no exaggeration. It was one of the most pointless nights I've ever had. If you stayed in and watched it picked up under a duvet, well done, you did the right thing. What a waste of time. But anyway, Happy New Year. See you next time.
As he said, it was one of the shittest and pointless nights he's ever had. New Year's 2026. I pray this video has been edifying. Until the next time, I say shalom.